So tell me this. What does a mermaid wash her fins in? That one's easy. That's Todd.
During the 5-minute drive, she's had an opportunity to calm herself down.
So I have to follow every f***ing law of that brother and leave the f***ing scene without a turn signal? Give him a ticket!
Do you need an ambulance?
He must have a turn signal! Give him a ticket!
You need to go to the...
No, I get him a ticket! They can do whatever he wants!
Okay.
Give him a ticket!
Can I help you with this?
Give him a ticket! He's alive!
It's right here. Anything else we can help you with today?
Yeah! Give him a ticket!
Well, it's not gonna...
What the f*** does he get to do with the f*** he wants more?
I just want to know, are you okay?
Why the f*** does he get ticket?
I can help you talk this out.
He's using turn signal!
Can I please call you an ambulance? Do you have any thoughts about this?
Where the f*** is he?
Where you going?
Shut the f*** up!
If you keep calling 911, you could... It's not.
Are you kidding her? People are drinking or
One second. Line it. You can do that.
So what the fuck is this banana for? Don't get an interview, what the fuck? I say now!
Jayla? Jayla, you are in an emotional state. I can't talk with you.
All of you stupid best, you white privileged motherfuckers! It doesn't take me money, and you do it! But you what? I wish I was a Catholic and shoot all of you! The God, and get a pat on the back for it! You stupid!
Okay.
I ride for my kid and I ride for my blood, for the boys in the backwoods stomping through mud. I ride for the fam that don't fold under heat and the ones who would swing if I fell in the street. I ride for the dogs with the scars on their knuckles, for the boys blowing smoke while they wrenching and struggles, for the outlaws who don't talk, they just move, for the ones with no hands if you even look rude. I ride for my uncles, my cousins, my mama, for the kinfolk who brought smoke for drama, for the boys in the Chevy with the pistol in reach, saying you touch mine, we gon' preach with the heat. No peace talks, no slow downs, no step back. We the type to retaliate where you slept at. Grew up in a place where the law don't roam, and the pine trees whisper when it's time to get gone. I ride for my circle, small like a dot, not one fake bitch in the crew that I got. I ride for the ones who stayed down in the dark when my name was mud and I lost my spot, for the brothers who checked in when shit got tight, even off a day last when I ain't had light. We done share meals, done shed blood, bury some kin and still stomp through the mud. Ain't no cap in my chapter, just war in the ink. You can check the rap sheet if you really wanna think. I ride for them 10 toes planted in the clay, for the folks who know loyalty ain't just what you say. You bleed for your bloodline or you get left, cause we ride on honor and we die with respect. I ain't never been the one to back down from a threat. If they come to my crew, I'll erase that debt. I ride for the nights we was broke, had nothing, still riding shotgun, hollering and stunting, still hitting back roads with the gas light flashing, running from the law with a trunk full of passion. For them days when we ducked under sheriff lights, in the backseat reeked of them outlaw rights. We was raised on rebellion, fed off the fight, and you bet we remember who switched over. I ride for them trenches, them ditches, that dirt for the fam that put grinding before they wore merch. Ain't no Hollywood handouts in these parts, just blue collars, ball caps, and hardened hearts. I don't watch fake friends turn ghosts like smoke, but my real ones stay when the whole world broke. I don't care about a chain or some social clout. I care who gon' ride when the hammer comes out. I ride for the kin that be silent and deadly, the ones who stay low but they always been ready. Never post threats, never flex with a flash, but to pull up on you with a trunk full of blasts. We don't threaten, we warn, then act on it. Put your name in the dirt, then pass on it. Ride for mine like a biker with the pat so tight. If it's war, then it's war, we ain't sleeping tonight. I ride for the women who held me down true when the world went cold, they stuck like glue. For the southern queens with a blade in their boot, Glock in a purse and they still stay cute. I ride for my daddy and the pride he passed, the strength in his fist and the stories that last. I ride for the times he said, son, don't cry, just load that clip and shoot truth in the eye. I ride for the trailer I was raised inside, where we learned that pain is a badge you hide, where the porch light flickers from the fights and storms, and the floorboards echo with the sounds of born. I ride for the hills where we buried our pain, and the barns where we carved our last name in grain. I ride for the ghosts that ride with me still, that whisper revenge when my temper goes chill. I ride for the brothers who died too young, whose names still hang on the edge of my tongue, for the boys in the pen still banging my name, for the ones in the dirt who deserve more fame. I ain't changing for $1 or a spotlight glare. I ride for the fam, not the ones who stare. So if you speak my name, better do it with care, or you'll see how real loyalty rips through air. I ride for the truth, I ride for the pain, I ride for my kin that still care the strain. I ride for them roads where no cops come, where the pickups loud and the whiskey's numb. I ride for the bond, I ride for the pack, I ride for the ones who always got my back. So we fuck around, best believe what's next, you'll find out quick while we earn their respect.
Is it real? Is it myth? Nah, he's live streaming truth from the forest mist. Galen, you thought Bigfoot was just a legend? Think again. Out of the woods and into the stream, Caucasian Sasquatch breaking the meme. Not just a myth, not just a name. He's exposing lies and calling out the game. Got a camera rolling, got that voice so chill, dropping red pill bids with that backwoods skill. 1 foot in freedom, 1 foot in facts. He's the bearded beast with receipts and stats. Caucasian Sasquatch, truth on tap, human deep dives, never a trap, hiding in plain sight, breaking the static, funny and raw, weird and emphatic, no blurry shots, just high-res rage. He's a digital beast taking center stage. From the concrete jungle to the mountain trees, he's serving free thought like it's government cheese. Trolls in the comments, he don't even blink, he'll clap back once, make the whole chat think. He's got that vibe like your cousin the sage, dropping Bigfoot wisdom from a digital stage. Maybe cryptid, maybe just his joke, but he's cracking the code while the system chokes. Caucasian Sasquatch, hunting the lies with the mic of mind and the blinking eyes, sipping on freedom, punching up power, living in truth like it's happy hour. Every stomp like a beast, streaming like a pro. You never know where he's gonna go. They said he was a myth, they said he couldn't exist, but he's on YouTube now and he's reading no script, line by line. He ain't monetized truth, it's free to stream. He's the squatch of your rights and American dreams. No filter, no leash, no sponsor leash. He's the barefoot preaching peace. He ain't looking for fame, just showing the scene where cops cross lines and Karen scream. Just a legend online with the loyal crowd. Caucasian Sasquatch saying lay Caucasian Sasquatch, bold and raw. No myth, no mask, just unfiltered law. Standing for rights in the wild and the town, with a cam in his grip and boots on the ground. say search the woods, but he's right there in the algorithm with the truth to share.
Hey, bro,
Yeah,
they said they want the full version of the beat.
hell yeah. Let's give it to him.
Okay.
Lights. Can we get some lights over here? Camera. Yeah. Action. We that two-headed, fire breathing beats like this, keep my nuts sagging. I've been all over like Bilbo Baggins. I've been over, had that bitch lagging. Cheat code. We keep toe tagging HBO, moving life. I hate bragging. I keep pre-roll. We smoke wood cabin. Ain't you for me? Oh, maybe so. Who's asking? Throw down in the forest. No one heard us get up. The way the wondrous, but start the fire, bearing the blunt. Scout for the lighters, losing mine. I think I lent it to ya. I need it back. I met my match with some sticks and some shrubs as I walk through the valley in the shadow of light. I take my chances at the glances. I get nosy sometimes. Like, hey, girl, who's that bitch you out here saying something? Speak up. You talk today, don't walk away. All of you need some Jesus. Shot clean. Keep killing these devils. Shit creek. We below sea level. They some imposters. Man, I swear they tripping, they be on the ayahuasca. Wet ass noodle motherfuckers eating pasta. Hit my foes, made them at the red spot. Boy, you make me wanna crack your head and make your neck pop. Extra. Yeah, I just read the message. Tried the best to back me down. I did it. Try to press smart. Kiss and tell it like it is like target practice. Red dot. Smarter mouth my racks and rich, but I'ma wipe the wrist. Cause there's too many others on this side. 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 Too many others. Too many others. Too many others. Too many others. Too many.
With the new iPhone, you can watch, listen, ignore.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the place to be. Hi, how you doing? What's going on? What's shaking? Brain rot. It's a problem. Anybody on the internet is at risk of receiving it. You've got all kinds of brain rot. You've got the brain worms. You've got your basic brain rot. You've got the smooth brain syndrome. You've got any number of issues that can pop up because you are chronically online, people. Every single one of us is at risk of this. I myself spend far more time on YouTube than any sane man would. But why would we be sane about it when we've already let the cheese slide off our cracker? That being said, I have guests. Can you believe it? People are here. Hi. Well, you didn't happen. Why didn't that happen? That was supposed to happen. And it wasn't supposed to happen like that. Do it this way. Yeah, that's how it works. What's up?
Yo, good to see you.
Yeah, you too. I've got a K-Dog in the back. Do we know this one?
Nope.
That's none of you? K-Dog, I'm going to need to see you. You're going to have to throw me some gang signs or a peace sign or I'm going to helicopter your dick at me or something.
I was going to say, shake that ass.
Yeah, give me some twerking or some shit. Like, let me know you're an actual person and not just over here to try to. All right, bud. That's close enough for government work. You're not going to
wait,
be weird with me,
know,
are you?
J-Dog. I
Yeah,
think
your
I should
pants
know.
are on. I think I see pants. I'm not sure which way your camera turns. Let's try this.
I think I've.
I
Okay.
don't know. I think. Okay, let's try that again. You there, dude? You're going to have to unmute. Hi. Still can't hear you, bro. All right. Tell you what, drop out, refresh, try again. We'll see what we can get. That appears to be a very unique form of the Hamburglar. All right, so brain rot. What we've got here is a failure to communicate. You see, most people are unaware of the insanity that takes place every day in the world. And now that there are billions of phones running around, people can film it. And as recently with that Cincinnati situation that took place, people will whip out their phones and start filming before they call for help. They
My
gotta
son
get
has been
fixed.
suspended 3 times for pulling out his phone and recording fights at school. I'm not proud of that.
Well, okay, all right. So when you're at school, there's already a framework of things that are supposed to be taking place, right?
Yeah.
There should already be controls in place, and if a fight breaks out at school, an adult should be presently, as it were. And it doesn't seem to be happening that way. Teachers have become prisoners in the schools, but all of this ties together.
Yeah.
The clicks and views, they're a part of the problem. The money you can derive from clicks and views are also part of the problem. I'm a little concerned, and I'm wondering about this, what is it, COSA bill that's supposed to be coming through, that all of the internet has already pre-geared to deal with. I find that funny that the actual literature of the bill hasn't been released, and yet the internet seems to already know what it is, and they're already prepping for it. So apparently Google thinks it's going to pass. So there's that. So if you haven't heard of Aiden Paladin, where have you been? You're under a rock or something. You need to get out, touch some grass and stuff, because this chick has been laying down long form content for the past, I don't know, 5 years on YouTube. She's one of those people that convinced me that by watching her videos, right, that some people are built for this and some people are not. And the people who are not built for it are the ones that don't have any ridges in their brain for the ideas to stick in. It's just smooth like a water slide. And all the ideas slip right off the top. So when she did the brain rot syndrome, how the internet makes morons, oh, I had to get my teeth into this one. That's not a penis, I promise. Pretty sure, anyway. So this is probably going to take more than one show to get through. It is a almost 3-hour video, 2 hours and 2 minutes. It's a 2-hour video. And this is one of the things I like about her content. You can pop it in and it's not just brain rot content. She's actually deep diving into the things that make YouTube or, social media in general, that make these things addictive, that make them a problem, that cause issues on personal and in public spaces. Like, have you ever had a friend of yours come over to your house and everything's chill and then something weird happens and pooch-ow, they whip out that phone and start filming in your living room?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's beyond rude. And in fact, if you whip out a phone and start filming in my living room, you might lose that phone like immediately. and it's because your living room is a private space. If you're going to film inside of my home, I would like for you to request that before you do it.
Right.
You can call me all the ists you want to call me. I do not care. The fact is, if I do not feel safe in my own home, I will freaking move. And you, the filmer, will not be welcome. So I think I've gilded the lily a bit much. Have you any thoughts on the brain rot of social media in general?
It's definitely a real thing. I think I spend too much time touching grass because I manage to avoid so much of it. Um, but like, yeah, I've even been like out to dinner with people who are paying more attention to their damn phone than the people at the table or the food that gets delivered to the table.
All right,
And
there's a caveat there.
and
There's a caveat.
even for school, these kids, they're not retaining anything at school because
Sure.
they're on this all day long.
Okay, so I think this is going to come down to the phone number problem. Are you familiar with the phone number problem?
Nope.
Okay, you're old enough. When you were a kid, how many numbers did you know that you could just pick up a phone and dial and call?
Oh,
Whole bunch, right?
a
How
whole
many do you
bunch.
know
Yeah.
now? How many people can you just pick up the phone and call now without having that button to push?
2?
I've got 3 maybe.
Maybe 3.
Assuming they haven't changed their phones recently, right? And that's another thing. So the usefulness of short-term retention has become reduced by the ability to just access information willy-nilly. You want to know how many toes a freaking dingo has, you can just Google it. If you want to know what's the biggest rock on earth, you can Google it. You don't need to know all of this stuff that they try to teach you. But the thing about the stuff they try to teach you in school, it's not useless information. It is representational information. It represents the thoughts needed to be able to think critically. And they are not teaching critical thinking in schools anymore. They teach you to think critically on victimhood. And that is terrible. Absolutely.
It's true. And like I said, the kids, I was shocked to find out the kids are allowed to keep their phones and use them in class. In fact, even in detention, they're on their phone, sitting on their phones in detention.
That doesn't sound like detention to me.
For real. What are they learning to not
They're
do
on a
again?
live stream. Making
Yeah.
money, right?
For real.
So I'm gonna roll this video. I'm gonna go about 10 minutes at a shot, maybe 5. It depends on the points that she specifically makes.
Okay.
Fair warning, people. Aiden goes deep. Like, she doesn't just take a look at a particular topic. She takes a look at the topics and the topics that make up the topic, and then the reasons behind those topics being an issue, and the issues behind why the issue is a problem. I might have gone too far on that one. But I actually like her voice. It's not terrible.
Know your friends, stalk your ex, download porno on a crowded bus, even check your email while getting hit by a train. All with the new iPhone.
For the better part of 2 decades, mankind has gained access to the entire wealth of human knowledge, conveniently laden at our fingertips in ways never before dreamed possible. Always connected, always nearby in our pockets, and now with AI technologies cropping up seemingly every day, it's as simple as asking a virtual assistant virtually any question that one could possibly possess in order to gain an answer, albeit one of dubious reliability. Likely why a 2024 Digital Education Council report found that 86% of college students incorporated AI into their coursework. And
so, we're not just creating a generation of morons. We are creating a generation, multiple generations of charlatans, right?
Yeah.
These folks are not even interested in having an actual learning experience for themselves. They're perfectly willing to shuffle the responsibility of learning off onto an AI and then produce something that looks like a decent thesis, passes all the freaking grades, get a straight A student in there, and then ask him to change a tire and he's completely stumped.
My son and all of his friends use AI to write every paper they've had to do through high school.
I hear you. And I mean, I kind of understand it. I get why that would happen, but it seems to me like the learning system ought to be capable of dealing with that. You know, just as soon. Go ahead.
They do. They have things in place where it looks like the teacher can run it through some program that tries to determine if AI wrote it. So what they've learned, what the boys have started doing is changing a few sentences here and there or shuffling a few sentences, and then it gets overlooked and bypassed. And I got to take some blame in this because I taught my kids work smarter, not harder. So I
This
guess
is
it's
critical
my fault.
thinking at its base. I mean, honestly, when you're faced with a problem, when the whole purpose is to solve a problem, the methods by which to solve the problem are less important than the success of solving the problem.
Yeah.
To an extent. There's a point there, right?
Right.
If you can't apply the answer to the issue, you will not actually resolve the issue. You will just shuffle it down the mortal timeline a little further, right?
Right.
And that's ultimately the issue we're having. Eventually, you will have to learn to change a tire. Eventually, you will need to know what to do when someone gets burned. Eventually, and these are not the types of things that like you can whip out your freaking phone, watch a video on it, and be able to do it. You've got to know things like leverage and what kinds of things you can cover a burn with. Like you don't want to use cotton batting.
I will give my son that credit. Is like, I mean, like today he did an oil change on my car. Tomorrow he's doing one on his uncle's car. Whereas he may not have applied himself in things like English and literature and history. He's most certainly applied himself in the areas that are useful for his life. So,
Yeah, and how useful is the ability to feng shuangle an answer out of an AI bot, out of a large language model, something that'll get you an A? It's useful to a point. It'll help you with a resume. It'll get you some details about historical events and facts and who was there and what was going on and all that stuff. That's fine. If you don't apply that knowledge to your life, it's useless and does nothing. In fact, I would argue it's not even knowledge. It's just information.
yeah.
So how much can we allow this to slide? If we don't put the brakes on at least some, or well, I don't know. I guess the government wouldn't really want you to have critical thought, would they?
Well, I got to give the kids credit too, and kind of, poke at the schools a little bit, because how useful is knowing, being able to recite Shakespeare and Poe if you're not going to have a career that's geared in that field?
It's very useful. You have no idea how many suave pickup lines I've derived from Shakespeare.
Fair.
Not quite so
Fair.
many from Poe, but the ability to start quoting the Raven. I mean, it has a use. It's not so much a hammer and nail type of use, but it does break ice. Like, for instance, there is no logical reason why anyone would memorize all of the Jabberwocky. It's not even its own poem. It is a poem in a book that is fictional. Like it's not even a standalone own thing. It's something that's a part of something else, and it's such a small part of it. Most people, I don't know, a significant number of people have no idea where it comes from, and yet the ability to spout that bit of doggerel out, and it means nothing. It's invented, made up words that are strung together to sound a certain way. It's not meant to teach. It's not meant for learning. There's no logical reason anyone would memorize it. I did.
It does make you sound smarter when you're talking to people, so I'll give it that credit. But it's like, I mean, I don't know. I think in some fields, some of it can get to be too much when they're having to do a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with what their goals are.
Right. I'm not sure I agree. If I didn't have half of Edgar Allan Poe's written works lodged in my head, when I'm over there building a foundation to a house, I would be so freaking bored that I'd rather just wander off into the woods. As it is, I had the ability to quote Shakespeare, to think about Poe, to consider, the consolidated works of, I don't know, John Locke, right? Because these are things I have put into my brain so that when somebody else brings up a topic and we're trying to have a conversation, my answer isn't like, oh, no, cuz, like,
Yeah, I agree with that. I absolutely can agree with that. And understand, I mean, like, I was a history and English kid. Like, I sucked at math very badly. So, that kind of stuff is actually more of my wheelhouse. I think I've just seen so many people who are more geared towards the other side, the math and the sciences, that I can understand why they're like, they're cool with learning some, but it's like, I don't know. I think they see
Well, I mean,
some of it as a waste of their time.
math carries all the way up to, say, algebra. Your basic algebra is functional and useful. You don't use it every day in your life, at least not on a conscious level, but the theorems and applications of it apply across the board, because how often do you not know an answer and you need to figure out what you need to know the answer, right?
Oh, believe me, I wish I was better at math. Once I hit geometry, like, I think it was the way they were teaching me, because when I play pool, I can use geometry really well.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a phenomenal pool player. Give it to me on a piece of paper, and I'm like just retarded.
I have formulas. I have all those formulas in my head. They're all just hanging out up there, drinking, having a good time. I don't think I've actually applied a formula in 12 years. But there are situations where things like algebra come directly into the forefront. Like,
Sure.
I was building a house. We got around to the front porch, which had been changed from the blueprints. Now, error, changed from the blueprints. And so now it's different. And if you build it according to the blueprints, but then just add the extra space, it's going to look really weird. So we have to, on the job site, literally with a stick and sand, figure out where are the centers of these posts going to be so that it looks right when you walk up to it. Right? 26 people on the job site couldn't figure it out. And I get back from lunch late, or from going to get lunch, and hand the food to everybody. And somebody else, the boss did not tell me this because I'd only been working there for about a week. And he was, some other dude looked at me and was like, there's $100 for anybody who can figure out where their posts are supposed to be. And I walked up and run a tape down the side of it, did a little bit of math in my head, turned and did a little math in the sand, and then put it, and everybody had a different pen and they put a different X. I didn't get a pen, so I was the only one that used pencil. Then I went over and set out the centers and then went and ate my lunch. End of the day comes around, everybody knocks off early. He gathers everybody up, said, someone did get it right, but I don't know who, because I did not give anyone a pencil to do this. I was like, the pencil was me. And everybody just turned and looked at me real funny for a long time and just stood there quietly. What's up, holy skunk? Rubs, grubs, hugs, and loves, baby. I hear you. You the one, girl. So, how did I do it? I couldn't really tell you. If you gave me the problem again, I would solve it again, but I would solve it from scratch again, So the critical thinking aspect is more applied in life as the ability to determine what information is needed before you can move on to solve the problem. Because if you don't know anything, you can't solve anything.
Right.
And this is where she's going with it. So let it roll. And by the way, the link's pinned. If anybody wants to come up, you can try again. I'm not sure who the other guy was. Dog, whatever. Anyway, come back.
Yet with all of this access to limitless data and new technologies, has that technology actually made us any smarter? The more information we have, the better we are able to think logically and make rational decisions based on that knowledge. With all of the world's data and information in the palms of our hands, surely having access to all that data must create a populace better able to understand how our world works, right? Well, no. That doesn't appear to be the case, and instead, actually, things may be reversed. Too much information can be a bad thing, overloading the brain's vast but still limited capacities, and creating a reliance on the technology that overloads it. While there are countless examples of how mere access to information does not lead to greater understanding or application of that information, I want to begin this video by illustrating the brain drain phenomenon of internet-initiated idiocy with a case study. Specifically, the case of Ethan Klein versus the left, a messy online political feud between formerly edgy content creator Ethan Klein and various left-wing political commentators and their fans who, in their quest to win this online spat, ostensibly about the conflict between Israel and Palestine, began spreading potentially very harmful misinformation about a parasite, Giardia. But why did they do this? Well, in an episode of his podcast, Ethan revealed that their newly adopted dog had tested positive for Giardia, and that he was concerned that his young children may have contracted it as well. They were all parasite-free, but it's a good thing that they got checked out, right? See, that's where you're wrong. In reaction to this seemingly utterly innocuous revelation, leftist streamer Bad Empanada informed his audience that Giardia is in fact extremely rare, and mockingly, at least I hope, described it as previously unknown to science, and something contracted exclusively via the ingestion of animal waste.
All right.
What?
So if you're not familiar with the Ethan Klein debacle, this has been going on for years. There are bread tubers who hate Ethan because ostensibly Ethan was once one of them and has since moved on from just being that. He does other things now, and apparently these people can't stand it. And for months, these individuals allegedly would repost Ethan's, they call it a reaction video. They would sit and watch the full video with no pauses, almost no commentary about the video itself, and then turn around and they monetize it. They do it like the night that it goes up. He uploads a video, poof, they've got a commentary on it that has no commentary in it. It is one step away from recording yourself sitting in a chair and putting it up next to the video, right?
Yeah.
I know people who have tried that. The AI will eventually catch on to that, but I know people who have tried it. And it's just one step away from that. When these people start taking shots based on the content that they have essentially stolen, and they're using the money made from your content in order to finance their lives to pick on you more, it's not just harassment. There are laws broken there, allegedly. And so Ethan recently, I think a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, what's up, Mike 23? Welcome in, brother. He set a trap. What he did is he spent the time to create an additional video in addition to his daily content. He went through the full process of pro copyright, the whole thing. It was specifically directed. Beth, look at your Discord. It was specifically directed to the people that were stealing his content for monetary gain. Other people have reacted to his content. He hasn't touched them, right? Anyone who actually does a full reaction, actually does the commentary, actually does the thing, no problem. Hasn't had an issue with it at all. These 6 or 8 or 12 people, there's a little group of them that all do this. They have made a travesty art out of this false reactionary comment. There's no, content. There's no commentary. There's nothing really beneficial to any of it. All it is a method to redirect viewers from Ethan Klein's content to their own content by using Ethan Klein's effort, his expertise, and his methods. He copyrights this one video, uploads it behind his paywall. They jump on it like a bunch of rabid piranhas, and now they're all on the hook for every dime they made reacting to that content. And not only that content, because they have to accept responsibility for this one, it opens the door for him to just line up the rest of them that they did badly on. And this is a point. Some of these people do legitimate content. They do legitimate reactions. There's commentary, the whole nine. Those people weren't named. Interesting that it's what this means is it's not just a vengeance that he's after. He's not trying to hurt them for purely emotional reasons. There is a distinctly legal and monetary reason behind his trap. He set the trap. They jumped in it and started fighting over it like crabs in a bucket. And then they all got subpoenaed. Several of them have already allegedly received money from GoFundMe's and whatnot for the future lawsuit that's definitely going to come. Here's a funny thing about that. If you've managed to cash out for, say, $53,000.79 on a GoFundMe specifically for your legal fees, and you use that money for something other than legal fees, that becomes part of the lawsuit. That is income generated specifically because of this video, and specifically for your legal fees and nothing else. And so felonies may stack up on these individuals based on how they react, how they respond. If they actually sit down and do the legal thing, shouldn't be so bad. In fact, I would not be surprised if Ethan Klein hasn't sent them all a letter of specifically what he wants. Something like an apology video and a donation to a charity or something simple like that, right?
Yeah.
And the lawsuit completely goes away for this individual. I would not be surprised. Now, I don't know that's a fact, but he does seem the type of person to enjoy a good troll, right? So keep that in mind. In this case, I'll let her explain it. I could spend 20 minutes trying to break down Dad Empanada. Yeah. What's up, Leah? Welcome in. Queen Bird, good to see you.
Hey, Leah.
I like the wave.
Way that you can get Giardia is through some sort of contact with its poop only. This means that his dog, which he acknowledges here had Giardia, a parasite, I will emphasize, that was previously unknown to science until this escapade with Ethan Klein 2 weeks ago. The only possible way,
the only reason to say that out loud is to trigger people into looking into it, or to just cause really stupid and really accepting people to just accept it as a fact. And when those stupid people walk away from this podcast and they turn and look at their little bread tuber friend and go, hey, did you know that this stuff was discovered and it's discovered in his house? His kids were the first victim, or some trash like that, right? They expound on that tiny bit of information and it progresses forward through the community through word of mouth in a completely false and fictitious manner. There's nothing correct about any of it.
Yeah, not at all. Isn't it a parasite in water? I'm pretty sure it's a water.
I think so. And I mean, I'm sure it's associated with feces, but I'm not sure exactly how it's passed off. But I thought it was something that you get from like dirty creeks, something like hot creek water. But I'm not certain.
for this to be spread from his dog to himself and his family is through contact with contaminated.
Despite his conviction and authoritative tone, supposedly backed by extensive Googling and Wikipedia skimming, I'm sure, none of this is true. Giardia is very common in undeveloped nations, and is still relatively common in the West, with 2 to 5% of the entire US population being infected each year, particularly young children. To be precise, there are about 19.5 thousand cases of Giardia in the US per year, and of those cases, over 30% are children under the age of 10. This is because young children, particularly those still crawling or teething, and as anyone who has even babysat a child can tell you, frequently put things in their mouths and touch objects that an infected animal could also have touched. Despite Empanada's claim, Ingestion of animal waste is not the only way to contract the parasite, as swimming pools and bodies of fresh water are more common vectors of infection, hence its nickname, beaver fever. And speaking of beaver fever...
All right, hold on. I
Yeah,
want to
they
hear.
showed New York. That's how I knew this shit, because I live on a lake where, yeah, this is something that's a common, like they check people for it when you go to the ER and you're really sick.
Welcome in, One Big Pond. Good to see you. Andrew Langlois, appreciate you coming back through, bro.
Sorry, my dog's an
hence
asshole.
its nickname, beaver fever.
I think I may have a critical case of beaver fever. Not sure what I'm going to do about it.
And speaking of beaver fever, another group at unique risk of contracting Giardia, I'm sure to Bad Empanada's dismay, is homosexuals.
And then they eat the poo-poo.
Giardia was also described as extremely serious, and while it certainly is something that need be treated, often with ivermectin, funnily enough, in the West there is virtually no mortality risk associated with Giardia, even in young children, being the most susceptible and the most vulnerable. All of this information is readily available online, and I mean, I'm a social science geek, not a medical doctor, and yet despite that ease of access, little said about this disease, in this case, is factual. That wasn't the only...
Okay, so this is literally a case of misinformation, of someone utilizing information as a weapon to sort of broadcast spread a concept of allegedly this guy's a bad parent because, right? There's no evidence. He that spring fully formed from a bread tuber's forehead like Hera. Straight from the forehead of Zeus. And these people are everywhere. And I could name a dozen of them that we associate with on the regular in the Panelverse, and I'm just not that type of mythical creature. I don't want to give them the clout of me having said their name. I might be evil, I might be diabolical, but I am right.
Only blatantly incorrect information being passed around as accurate regarding the Kleins, as seemingly determined to one-up Bad Empanada at the Soviet Special Olympics, fellow leftist streamer Denims concurred with his sentiments, or at least did not rebuke said sentiment, in her livestream viewers that Ethan Klein was guilty of child abuse.
He had to spend long hours hunched over a laptop, ignoring his children and the poop they were eating for months to deliver that powerful content puke against the most evil man to ever live, Hassan Piker.
Also, he literally makes fun of Mike from PA about weight all the time. That's not relevant to his arguments either.
Unsurprisingly, this all resulted in mass reports to Child Protective Services, who by law were required to investigate the...
And I propose that this allegedly was the purpose of putting out said misinformation, was to trigger the Darrens and Karen of the world to immediately call in. This is like swatting, soft swatting, right?
Yeah.
This gets Child Protective Services involved. This gets social workers involved. And this all occurs simply because they don't like his politics. They don't like him. And that's it. He hasn't done anything.
What's interesting is now even Judge Judy, like if you can identify who is making false reports against you, that's a $5,000 civil suit right there.
Right.
Like
And
Judge Judy will give you $5,000 for that.
yeah, and so
It's not
when
a
it
good
comes
idea.
down, but okay, that's all well and good, and I'm glad that there's a protective measure involved in this, or at least a retributive measure involved in this, but
it's
it
still a
doesn't change morons being morons. It won't stop an idiot who doesn't know how to Google something from breaking a law they don't know exists.
Yeah, I agree.
The mental infection is rampant. You are correct, Queenberg. You see it every night on these Panelverse panels when people come in and they try to tell you that somebody is a thing of some sort with no evidence, no proof, and nothing. There's nothing to back it up except for the tone of their voice and the strength of their conviction. And some idiots will believe them. And this is exactly why I say, People who hate you are better advertisers for you and your content than people who like you. But when someone spends time making content specifically against you, it tells the other people that the same individual has attacked, has come at, the type of person you are. Apparently, you have too much integrity to accept this individual. And so now he's lashing out and trying to besmirch your name, and they've experienced the same thing. So when they happen to come across you later, they're like, oh yeah, you're the guy that guy hates. He hates me too. Why does he hate you? And most people's answer, and it blows my mind, most people's answer is, I don't know. I don't know what I did to the guy, because they're insane. They're nuts. They're just out here spewing hate for hate's purpose, just for hate. And so I don't give any of that any gas. I don't feed it. I don't carry it around in my pocket. I'm not going to keep it, and I'm not going to let it grow up and make more hate.
Man, that all resonates with me. Thank you very much.
It's not just you though. I mean,
I know it's not. I know. It's crazy.
Every creator who's been in the panelverse for more than 6 or 8 months has come across someone that just hates them for no reason.
I'm not even a creator. I don't have my own channel. I'm just a nomad that pops around and hangs out with you fine people and enjoys my time. Like this is my social life because I live in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, it's baffling why anyone would spend any time on someone like me. But surprise.
It's content. These people believe that content is the purpose. And if content's the purpose, I heard someone say, someone who shall remain nameless. I heard someone say something one time, and it convinced me that my approach of never mentioning them, never giving them the light of day, never allowing them to even set roots down, they don't exist as far as my mouth is concerned. I will never, ever utter their name except for in private spaces where I triple check to make sure there's no evidence I ever uttered this person's name, right? Because I don't want to give them the first drop of anything. Nothing. They're useless people. I wish they'd go away. They won't go away. So the only way to deal with them is to not feed them. You don't feed the trolls, people. If you feed the trolls, they'll come back. They're just like cats.
That's right.
True. Yeah, shout out to the haters. Lord help us, Tampa. So when you have one of these individuals that comes at you, especially if it's your first one, and you look around at the rest of the people that you're associating with, and they all just either don't respond or don't acknowledge he exists. And if you ask questions directly at them, they go kind of like, man, you know, it's kind of hard to find people that are trustworthy on YouTube. You gotta take the good with the bad and filter out the good ones and keep them and get rid of all the people that bother you, and you know, that kind of thing. It's cryptic. It sounds downright cryptic. It doesn't give you enough information to make a decision, but that's a good thing. You should make your own decision based off of experiences you have with that individual and move on with your life after that. What you don't want to do is hear them make a hit piece on you and turn around and make a hit piece back on them, and then them make another hit piece on you. The thing about idiots, never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and then beat you with experience. They've been stupid their whole life, and you're just now being stupid.
It's a good way to put it.
I think that was Samuel Clements. I'm not positive on that one. Mr. Mark Twain, for those of you who are slightly less illustrious. It's true though. Every single one of these people can be defeated through silence. Just don't interact with them. They'll lose interest. And even if they don't, their hate is still a decent advertisement.
Yeah, and it says more. I have found it says more about them when I don't react. You know what I'm saying?
And I don't know if you've noticed, but when you don't react, when you don't watch their content, see, there's a thing that happens, and I advise you to not even watch it.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
don't.
you realize this makes some people feel like they're not taking advantage of a resource that could be useful, that they could use to defend themselves, so that you can point out the lies. No one cares. No one cares if they're lying or telling the truth. They're just here for the drama. And if you jump in there with both feet, there's no ladder to climb out of. It's like a bad Sims game.
You're
And
right.
there's nothing you can do about that once you're in the hole. So the best way to deal with it is, right, Mike 23 gets it. Don't fall into the trap. All of this is, you ever heard of baiting bulls? Bull baiting. That's what this is. And if you are as dumb as a bull, you will charge straight in on it. If you take the bait, you will fall in the hole. You will get caught in the trap. And then you'll end up with a situation like some of Jack Talcott's issues with some of his haters. For whatever reason, he cannot resist responding to them. He can't not do it. And for that reason, they always come back. They always come back like a cat you fed one time.
Klein's home, which they allowed, asking their children questions and searching for evidence of poor conditions in their multi-million-dollar LA mansion. Denham's later justified false reports, a crime pursuable both criminally and civilly in the state of California where this occurred, because, according to her, children do not form memories before the age of 5 or 6. Conveniently, the age of Ethan's oldest child.
Create any bad memory for them. You're not forming memories at 3 years old, and it's very rare that you're forming memories at 5 years old. Now, yes, you are. No, you're not. When we're talking about being able to remember, being able to recall memories, it's like 4 is the cutoff. But even if you are forming any memories at 4, you're not going to be able to remember them past like 15. You have maybe 1 or 2 memories.
Ignoring the implications.
All right, hold on. I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to let her finish this because I think she actually answers what I was fixing to say.
Carried by such a claim that children don't form memories, and as such, it's all right to put them through a traumatic experience, it also just isn't true. Astonishingly, Denham's reads directly from a Wikipedia article, which states that the mean age for first memories is 3.5.
There's a wide variation across about the mean across methods, cohorts. The average age of adults' earliest memories is 3.5 years old.
Okay.
Denham's likely not knowing.
Now, what's your earliest memory? You don't have to tell me what it is, but how old do you think you were when you formed it?
My earliest memory, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and although having 2 kids, like, they actually kind of affirm this, I know the most I can tell you is I was in a walker.
Okay.
And I went down a flight of stairs. And I remember seeing my mom falling, trying to grab a hold of me before I went down.
Right.
My kids shocked the hell out of me with stuff they remember. All the time. Like, I don't know how they remember this stuff. But
Welcome in, Oklahoma Outlaw. Good to see you, bud.
what about you? What's your oldest?
This is going to be one of those where everybody that hears it calls bullshit. But I had no way of knowing this when this situation occurred. When I was about 15, I came across a guy smoking a cigar. First time I'd ever smelled. Well, no, I had never. My earliest memory is a smell, and I tried to explain it to my mother on several occasions, because she was curious about that type. What's your earliest memory? It's a smell. And what smell? I don't know. I don't know what it is. I've never encountered it since. So I can't point at something and be like, it smells like that. Right. And this dude was smoking a cheroot. And I went into a friend of my parents' house, and I walk in, and there's another friend of theirs that is also there, and he is smoking a cheroot cigar. And I bumped my mom. I said, whatever that is my first memory. And she looked at me and said, turns and looks at my pops as they talked for a minute, and then she asked me, are you sure? I said, yeah. And I thought it was weird that she was confused, and so I kept asking her, I'm like, why is that? So why does that bother you? She said, I don't have a memory of anyone in your life smoking cheroots at all. But the doctor that delivered you smoked cheroots. And I was like, that's insane. That's absolutely impossible. She said, is it impossible though?
No.
Is it? And she asked me to basically remember some specific stuff out of books that she knew I'd already read. And I can't necessarily quote them verbatim, but I can give you the general idea of it, you know? And she was like, so how crazy is it that the very first scent that you smell when you come into this world might not be the very first memory you form? Most people, it would be like chemicals and hospital smells and stuff like that, you know, cleansers and sanitizers and things like this. In my case, it was a cheroot smoking doctor, apparently. So make of that what you will.
The olfactory system connected with memories, and so that your scent is actually the strongest out of all of your senses. The ability for a scent to implant itself as a memory and to trigger emotions. It's really interesting to study that stuff. Actually, you guys should look into it.
It's kind of hard to study because it's almost an entirely subjective study. First, you have to trust the participants are actually telling you the truth. Second, there's no way to verify any of it. You just have to take their word on it, you know. And so it's a bit of a soft science on that point, but we can verify that areas of the brain that later are responsible for things like long-term memory, short-term memory, memory transference, memory recall, all of this stuff are forming at an exponential rate from the even before birth. So,
well, I think that what they found was that, and I could be wrong on this, but I could swear to God I saw a thing about this. They were able to, they did like an MRI study where they exposed participants to different smells and they recorded sections of the brain lighting up based on things that they were smelling. And so therefore, you may not know exactly what the memory is that it's triggering, but the scent is causing the brain, just the mere scent is causing something to happen in the brain. So
absolutely. And what's more on that point is give me money.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
Right?
Yes. Give him the money.
Give me the money. I'm the one that likes it. I like it more than you do. But I want it more, sir. That does not check out. No, but yeah, there is no hard line on when the earliest memory can form. There's a general consensus that most people, hashtag not all, don't really start a hardcore memory up until, 5 or 6. These are things like you remember riding on your tricycle and skinning your knee. You remember somebody stepping on your foot in a kindergarten or preschool, or, somebody accusing you of something that you didn't do when you were very young. You remember these things. These are called flashbulb memories, and you remember them because they cause an internal, sometimes traumatic experience or a painful experience. And it's the intensity of that trauma and pain that implements them onto your brain that make them so indelible. I don't know why I remembered the cheroot smell. I have no idea. I imagine being born is a fairly traumatic event, but I have no other memories from it. I can't, baby shit green. That is another thing, one of my earliest memories. And it's that hospital baby shit green. You know what I'm talking about? That institutional green that used to be on everything. I'll give you a diddly dodo damned if I know my delivery room was that color. Everything was back then.
I have a thing against yellow, and I've never been able to explain why. But a lot of places, actually, interestingly enough, my great grandmother's kitchen was painted yellow, come to find out. But like my whole life, I've had this thing totally against yellow. Like I can't stand it. Absolutely not. Worst color, worst paint in the world. No. It triggers me.
So I often say that I'm autistic. And one of the reasons that I say this, when I was about 9, I came home from school and my mom had painted 3 walls in the living room which had previously been an off-white, a bright, glaring canary yellow, like the yellow of my name in the chat, like school bus freaking yellow, bro. This thing, and it was 3 white walls, 1 yellow wall. It freaked me out for some reason. I couldn't deal with. I wouldn't even go into the living room. I would go out the back door and go around the house to do what I needed to without having to go through that room. I just wouldn't do it. So fast forward a few more days, I come home and she has painted the opposite wall blue. The whole wall blue. This wall is yellow. The other 2 walls are white, and it freaks me out. I just, when I get home, I just go around the house and come in the back door. I just won't even look at that room no more. And when it was all said and done, they ended up painting the room blue, all 4 walls. But for about a month, I didn't know. I didn't even realize it was finished because I never went into that room. It freaked me out so much that I just wouldn't deal with it. I'm not a fan of change. Unless it's your loose change and you're sending it by Cash App. You want to see something funny? I think it's funny. Let me see if I can find it.
I always like funny stuff.
How much cash could a Sasquatch stash? Let's find out.
People need to send that money. Hook this man up.
I could go steal a whole bunch of stuff from Dusty's thing and be like, money me, money now, money haha, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems like a cheeky monkey kind of thing to do. I am going to go grab one of those songs because I can't figure out where it came from. I don't know who sings it. I don't know who made it. I don't know where it come from. I have no idea. So that's where we're at.
What mean means, as I doubt elementary mathematics is something within her repertoire, as such reaffirms her original statement then that children under 5 do not form memories.
You're not really forming memories at 3.
The mean is, of course, the average in a set of data, and as such, a mean of 3.5 would mean that half of children form memories before that age. She reads this information aloud, does not understand it, and instead thinks that she has affirmed her initial baseless claim, seemingly having overloaded her brain. Not that I think that's particularly difficult in her case. And as if it wasn't revolting enough that these people in their arrogant and
shots fired.
For real, that was brutal. I love it.
This chick, I've always loved her content. She's always done extremely in-depth work. You see what I mean when I say like she breaks it down and then breaks it down again to show exactly what the issue with the thought process is. Not just that it's wrong, but it's wrong because, and the reason and this is how, it's all of it, right? I love this chick. Her content is amazing. And twice I have missed a chance to be on panel and talk to her because I was sleeping. Shit. Somebody sent me an email. They were hosting her. She came in, answered all the questions. I could pick this woman's brain for days. I mean, she would have to beat me away with the heel of her shoe because I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
And you're right. Her voice is rather nice too.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Listening to it.
Up until YouTube forced the whole facial exposure of most of their creators, drove them all out of their parents' basement or what, if you will. She was one of the avatar people that would just pop up and show data on the screen with an avatar, and that was the way she did it. And in the past couple of years, she's had to do the whole face reveal thing. That was my plan. I was actually going to base a lot of my channel kind of off of her format and stuff. I was going to do a better avatar, better layout, do different things. I wasn't going to do the same content, of course, but different stuff. And I mean, where you see where it all went, I fell backwards into doing something totally different. Turns out I have a gift of gab. Apparently my parents just didn't like that joke.
Brain-fueled ignorance made false reports to CPS in a blatant attempt to destroy a family. In the weeks since the CPS call, the Kleins have...
Queen Bird, I thank you for the $5, baby. I love it. That's amazing. You're the one, girl. You might even be my future ex-wife. You keep rolling in the dough like that. Would you like to be my future ex-wife? I don't know. I don't really got a whole bunch of clips to drop on this. I spent my day napping because I was up all night last night. But I do got a couple of things, and they aren't great. I gotta get rid of that one. That one's no good. Straight stole Joe Cool's laugh for that.
Have claimed to have received human skulls sent to them in the mail.
There's something that I've never talked about publicly, but around the same time, we received 2 human skulls in the mail at our home, which led us to having a very pleasant interview with the FBI.
All while former YouTube Golden Boy Ian Joma, nay Washburn, aka iDubbbz, released a video on the Kleins, his friends of nearly a decade, attacking their character without a single mention of the CPS incident, initiated and encouraged all through sheer stupidity. Case study aside.
Okay, so this brings us back to those people who are talking trash about you, and you're gonna get them. You're gonna get them by proving every single word they say is wrong. You're gonna spend 30 hours of time. You're gonna spend 90 hours editing. You're gonna do all of this stuff and release it, and only the 4 people that are doing hate content on you are gonna watch it because nobody else cares. It only matters to you. Now, if you can tie that into a larger drama sphere type situation, I could see where it might be worthwhile. But do you want to share subscribers with someone who only hates?
Yeah, no. Because that's the other thing is for, every minute of attention you're getting, so are they.
Yes. And so by simply cutting off the feed, just completely stop the whole. First of all, you shouldn't start. That's important. That is a critical point in this chain of effect, right? If you don't start giving them the juice, they don't come back for the juice. Now, they may continue making content, but anybody who stumbles across it will listen to it and be like, who is this guy? And why is he talking so much trash about somebody I like? That's weird. But if you spend time making content about the trash they talk about, it sounds like you're guilty and trying to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You will do nothing but validate the negative imagery they're trying to put on you. And so the best thing you could do is A, do not engage. If forced to engage, choose your ground. Follow every single word of Sun Tzu. Choose your battles. Choose them wisely. You cannot win a battle against a moron who's not here to win. What was it homie said? Oh, yeah. He said, when you're in an eco, and I'm not going to say who said this, but he'll know who he is, and he may even show up. When you are in an ecosystem that is based off of clicks, views, and money, if you are the stronger opponent because you do not care about the clicks, the views, or the money. Think about it. If I can nuke your channel and it hurts you and does nothing to me, and you nuke my channel and it literally does nothing to me because I don't care about the clicks. I don't care about the views. I don't care about the clout. I don't care about any of that. The money is a byproduct of all those things. And so I don't care about money. You cannot harm me in this ecosystem because you've already been harmed. The harm is permanent. You cannot get an unban from YouTube. And the information in question is already out there. If you start trying to respond to it, you try to correct the thoughts of others, you fall into the trap of feeding the trolls. Damn right. Let's hit that like button. Do that thing.
Here's the question I must ask. Does access to the entirety of human knowledge online, only ever seconds and a few stripes or keystrokes away, actually increase an individual's knowledge and understanding? The answer, it seems, is no. In fact, the opposite is more likely to be the case. The internet is making us dumber. While not every specimen of this phenomenon is equally as egregious as Denham's or bad empanada, Delegating our thinking to a phone or to a computer inherently means that we delegate less of it to our own minds, deferring.
Exactly. So, and I am going to name this name because I actually really like Ryan the Radical Coder. I think he's hilarious. I am praying to God that man is playing a character.
I think he is.
I hope so. Dear God, I hope so.
My interactions with him, like when not debating, like he doesn't seem to be who he is when he debates. And so
Right.
I actually really like him. I think he's a really nice person. And yeah, I have nothing but good to say about him.
But then on the other hand, you have folks like Non-Fun who have no life experience whatsoever, but want to tell people 30 years his senior how to think. That's to me, that's just sort of a non-starter on its surface. If you weren't sitting in your mom's basement or wherever he happens to be, I'm not throwing shade, I'm just saying, if you weren't sitting behind that computer screen, you'd have to be out in the real world. And when you said something stupid, someone would call you on it. If you're going to quote ChatGPT to me, I might as well ask ChatGPT instead of you. And that goes for the Radical Coder too. He turns to ChatGPT on 80 to 90% of his debates, at least once.
So they just did on a different channel. I don't want to shout out. I don't want to, whatever. They were looking at AI stuff, and AI literally just learns how to lie to you. It tells you what it knows you want to hear. That doesn't mean it's the right answer.
So modern current AI is what is referred to as a large language model. Large language models are designed to find series of words and phrases that you will respond positively to. Once it's got a handful of those and other reactions from you on the internet, just looking at what you type on Twitter and everything like that, it can judge the answers that you would like to hear, which is why these people will tell you, just Google it. Right. And then you Google it and you don't get the answer that they got. You don't get the answer that they want. And they tell you you're doing it wrong, but they chose the prompt. They chose the method. They chose the way. And you're getting a different answer because your large language model is suited to you and their large language model is suited to them. Difference is you aren't using your large language model to formulate thoughts. They are. I would not be surprised in the least to find out that he has gone to ChatGPT and typed in what's the best response to such and such, and then wrote it down.
When they were doing this episode, this was last week or something.
Was it the Raising Tomato?
No, it was on Abe Dinkus.
Okay, I like Abe.
Abe is awesome, man. So they used AI to pull up picture anatomy of different animals. And it was the
I saw that.
You saw that? That was like
it was very inaccurate.
My favorite was the T-Rex with the chicken in it and the egg inside the chicken. But like the cow where all of its organs were in its front.
The cow was my favorite by far. There was a kidney in its butthole, and I still haven't figured out why. It didn't have a liver at all.
Yeah, no, and no stomachs either.
Well, it had the stomachs, but they weren't attached to the esophagus. I'll try to go find the link for that later and drop it. I'm not sure how hard that'll be to find, but it's out there somewhere. Y'all can find it. Abe Dinkus is the name of the channel.
It was one of his interviews that he did recently. Yeah. So it'll be one of those.
To experts rather than thinking independently.
All right, so that's what I was getting at here. Let me play this again.
To a phone or to a computer inherently means that we delegate less of it to our own minds, deferring to experts rather than thinking independently.
And that's my complaint with Non-Fun. Non-Fun has all of this data at his fingertips, and he repeats everything he's read or heard from his professors or had the conversation with his communist friends at the college, right? He is completely college educated and completely captured by that system. He's so captured by it. Anyone who suggests there's something beyond it that might affect the data that he's talking about, or that perhaps the data might be skewed by its acquisition methods and its correlation methods, right? If you're looking at data that's based on home prices over the past 25 years, but that data was correlated by a company who benefits from it looking better than it should, they will do so for profit.
Of course.
But I don't see him making a distinction between MIT data versus, you know, something you pull off of an AT&T website about cell phones, right? I mean, he it's like he assumes, he dismisses his own authority to experts he's never met, never seen, never interacted with, never used any of their theorems, never applied any of their math, never done any of those studies. But here it is on a piece of paper, and it sounds real good when I say it. That's not going to build a house, bro, but it might make you enough money to pay someone to build you a house.
Today, almost everyone, including children, has access to the internet and thereby access to near limitless information. But is TMI actually harmful for cognitive processing? Let's examine the now quite extensive research on how the internet, smartphones, and the addictions that these technologies can induce may stymie educational outcomes, cognitive development, memory formation and recall, problem solving and critical thinking, attention span and coordination, even producing changes in brain gray and white matter integrity and volume, and what the increasing delegation of mental tasks to artificial intelligence might mean for the future.
Okay, so if I get a really complicated question and my first response is not to think it out and see if I can answer it, this is one of the problems I have with Joe Cool. Joe Cool will not allow you time to think. He wants you to answer off of the seat of your pants, and if you don't do that, he says you're deflecting. It's not a deflection, Joe. It's just that I need time to think about what it is you just asked me. You know, I'm sorry, it's a deep conversation and you want a surface answer, and I'm not doing that. I'm not going to disrespect you that way. And then he turns around and has no problem with disrespecting people, saying you deflecting, you sidestepping. No, I'm working it out actively and you are a part of it, but you don't want to participate. You just want to win. You want to gotcha. You want to prove that your concept, your question, your direction, what you're doing is either morally, ethically, or just superior on its own right. Okay, that's a great method of breaking down a debate, but you don't see him in these debate spaces, do you?
Yeah, no.
Right?
No.
And so where does that come from? Why is it important to have a really rapid fire answer for any question that's asked? It's not. You want a accurate and good answer, right? Honest, at least. Even if you're wrong, if you answer honestly, I can respect that more than I can for someone who spends 10 minutes trying to deviate from the topic, right? You get a Melanie Fox involved in some stuff like this, and she'll talk for 25 minutes and never actually say anything on topic. She'll talk about trans stuff, trans issues, trans this, trans that. That's okay. That's well and good. I have no issue with that. We can do a show about that later, but this was about pancakes. We were talking about pancakes, man. Like, work with us here.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. Like, I need to, like, especially if you want an honest answer that, yeah, isn't surface level, I got to think about it.
Oh, that's good, Mike. That's real good. That's the difference between responding and reacting. Yes. Right. He wants a reaction. And I want to respond, and he knows that if I get a chance to think about what he's asked, not only will I have an answer, I'll have a reason for it. And quite often, when you're doing a response, you start with the reason for your response. It's a very common, you could call it a foible, if you will, but you start with, well, you know, because such. But he's like, no, don't you be sidestepping. And I'm like, but there's a reason for the thought process, and it's less understandable without understanding the reason first.
I had somebody get really pissed off at me because I didn't automatically apologize for something. And I tried to explain to them, I'm trying to understand.
I didn't automatically apologize to what?
That was my question. I was like, I'm trying to understand what it is I did that you want me to apologize for. If I just say, I'm sorry, I have no idea what I apologized for, and I'm probably going to fucking do it again. But
Oh, I'm absolutely. As soon as I find out it'll trigger you, I'm definitely doing it again. Like specifically, Ryan, the Radical Coder. Homeboy has a distinct hate for me that I'm not sure where it came from. It might be the way I succinctly state things. It might be just the sound of my Southern accent. But that, man, you can see his hair stand up just as soon as we interact. We can one-on-one with each other, and he just spurgs out, starts calling me what did he call me? A drunk redneck. I'm like, dude, I'm 3 sheets of the wind and still tearing you down. Like, what's your excuse? Go get you a drink, bro. Relax. Stop using Chat GPT and we'll get along famously. But I like the guy. I like the way he interacts with people. I don't have any hate for him. I'm not telling anyone to mess with him. I'm just saying, go check him out. He's actually kind of interesting. But I bet you $1 if I showed up in his chat, I'd get booted immediately.
Yeah, though. It's interesting, though, how people, like, even when it comes down to, like, you've done something that has upset them, they just want that instant gratification. Whereas, I mean, it's more, I don't know, genuine and beneficial to actually understand what the fuck it is that you did that pissed somebody off. Why would I apologize for something when I don't know what I did?
Right. You're going to have to first convince me that A, I did it. B, that I intended to do it the way you think I did. See, that's another thing. A lot of these people that have the same issue with Chat GPT and utilizing the internet to formulate their thought processes also believe everyone else does the same thing. And so they think they know what you're thinking. They believe they can read your mind and tell you why you said the words that you said. And then when you tell them they're wrong, they say that's a dog whistle. You're not culturally aware enough to realize what it is you're doing. You've just been radicalized by the internet. They completely divest themselves of any responsibility of dealing with your response. They say that you can't help it because you're too stupid. But I have yet to hear an original thought come out of this person's mouth. Yeah. They've read every single thing they've said off of a screen or said they didn't know, which is an acceptable answer and should be used more often.
With the basics to see just what happens when too much information essentially fries the human mind by looking at the internet and information overload.
Okay, the TMI point. This is not TMI in a conversation. This is what's that dude's name? The gematria guy? Zach. Is it Hubbard?
Not sure.
Think so. Anyway, this is the method by which he gets over on people. He tells you so many details so quickly that your brain starts assuming he's telling the truth because it can't verify anything that he said in the past 20 minutes. And so you listen to it and it makes some sort of sense the way he describes it. And it's kind of weird that those things all line up. But here's the thing. You can't verify a single word he said in situ. If you're on a panel with him, it's just an overwhelming tidal wave of information washing over you that washes away all of your original thoughts that you had on the topic. And by the time he's finished talking, you can only repeat the things that he said because that's all that's left in your brain.
And you can't even repeat all of it because he jumps from topic to topic to topic to topic. And by the end of it, you don't remember what the first thing he said was.
Right. And so there is no chain of thought consciousness. There is no process by which to determine it would take you 4 hours to verify the 10 minutes of him talking because it's dates, it's numbers, it's names. You'd have to use whichever type of gematria system that he's using for that particular breakdown. And if you don't know it, you can't prove it. You don't know if any of it he's saying is accurate or not. And so you're left having to assume he knows what he's talking about because he's speaking fluently and with conviction.
Rhetoric is a powerful tool.
It can be if used properly. Think for yourselves, folks.
When we are presented with functionally endless access to anything and everything, that sheer vastness of information can be overwhelming, creating confusion or doubt in those carefully considering all possible variables. And that doubt or confusion may ultimately lead to decreased accuracy, not increased. This is known as cognitive overload. The potential for cognitive overload was described by Geiger-Renzer and Brighton 2009 as the less is more effect. Drawing from 20 studies from the same cohort, subjects were asked to either explain or predict why a given phenomenon exists. For example, which one of 2 Chicago high schools has a higher dropout rate, based on cues such as writing score and proportion of Hispanic students in the student body.
In Espanol, my nickname is El Tigre Chino. Because my knowledge will bite her face off.
Participants who relied on cognitive heuristics, snap judgments akin to intuition, were better able to predict which of the 2 schools had a higher dropout rate when they answered the question based on the raw tallying of numbers, without any statistical weights, and were the most accurate when they selected the answer that just sounded right and best to them, again relying on
Think that through. Heuristics. This is basically your brain looking at a batch of information far too big for you to cognitively break down and understand and go through, and yet it still feels the answer is correct. And when you utilize proper heuristics, you look like a genius, because people go, well, how much of this, how much of that, how much of this, how many of those, and what percentage of it would it be if after, this given conclusion? And it's like around 14.2. You can't possibly know that. And you look and it comes up to be 15 or whatever. You actually crunch it out and poof, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is allowing your subconscious. It's like throwing a baseball. You don't sit down and do calculus on a curveball. You throw the ball, and if it doesn't do it right, you do it again until it does. And you do it over and over and over again, and you learn it through muscle memory and less through the knowledge of how the ball flies through the air mathematically, right?
Yeah.
heuristics, not computation. That is, even when they had access to all of the math, they were less accurate at predicting school performance than when they just guessed, not based on facts, but based on feelings. While use of multiple regression analysis was most accurate in post facto hindsight analysis.
Oh, I'll tell you exactly what it do. What it do is, we got about another 30 minutes in this show. I'm going to continue going through this video until the time's up, and then I'm outie 5,000, y'all. I got me a Waffle House waitress I got to go hit on. Or you could donate $15 to my Cash App and we'll get another 30 minutes out of us. The link is pinned. Y'all can come up and entertain the living shit out of me, and I might stay live longer. But until such events like this, and $25 for an hour, I'll do that for you.
That's a deal, guys.
I don't necessarily want to be here all night talking to myself, right? So either if I'm going to sit here and talk to myself all night, somebody's going to have to pay me, or make it very interesting and we'll work a deal on it. Right? That doesn't seem too bad to me.
In terms of predicting an outcome in the future, too much information can so overwhelm the senses that the most informed end up being the least accurate.
Source? It was revealed to me in a dream.
If cognitive overload can reduce...
Which is exactly the same or very similar to saying, I asked ChatGPT. What's up, Mr. Romano Productions? Appreciate y'all coming in. Hit that like button. Copy the share link. You can send it to people, your ex, or that group chat you hate, or your favorite prayer chat or church chat. Get me some Mormons in here. They're tons of fun, and they're always so nice. And they're clean. They have to be, or they won't be let in.
Predictive accuracy So too then may emotions overload one's capacity for cognition via similar
was kind of a low
overstimulation,
blow.
as we can see in a study from Masvidal 2011, who sought to identify if different forms of modern media exposure had positive or negative effects on cognitive performance in a sample of German college students who were tasked with playing either a high arousal, that is exciting, don't get too excited yourself, video game, Doom 3, playing a low arousal video game, in this case Professional Tennis 2006, or with watching a high arousal, again meaning exciting, film clip from Doom 2005, or a low arousal clip of a real tennis match. Before watching the clip or playing the game, subjects read a short informational news article about the construction of a new library on campus, which they were asked to pay close attention to over the course of 90 seconds, and were given another 90 seconds to memorize a list of 20 words in Turkish, none of which the participants spoke.
Follow in your book and repeat after me as we learn 3 new words in Turkish. Towel, bath, border.
After watching or playing, participants were given a multiple choice test of their memory of the meaning of the Turkish words and a series of open-ended questions regarding information contained in the news passage about the new library. A measurement of general capacity for concentration, sensation-seeking, which is a desire to experience new and potentially even dangerous things, general intelligence, feelings of stress induced by the media exposure, and habitual media usage were assessed. They found that highly arousing media, one last time meaning exciting, regardless of its format, be it a video game or a film, reduced the ability of subjects to concentrate on subsequent tasks. Women possessed better memory after exposure to all forms of media than did men, but both sexes similarly experienced decreased ability to concentrate when exposed to more exciting media content. Not stress, nor media preference, nor sensation-seeking mediated this relationship, meaning that the relationship between consuming highly engaging media and decreased ability to concentrate is direct and linear. As such,
Do you get what she just said? All right. This is going to take a second to break down because that was a very dense statement that she just made. The more stimulating the content you consume is, the less thought process goes into any subsequent functions. In a nutshell, that's what she just said. If you are watching, Marvel movies, right? Lots of explosions, lots of pretty lights, lots of things going on. You are more likely to be thinking about the special effects in that Marvel movie for more time afterwards than you are if you were, say, watching a lecture, right? You won't be thinking about the lecture 2 hours later, but you might be thinking about that chick that jumped out of the window and looked so sexy, right?
Or even a jump scare in a horror movie. That
Sure.
should stick with you for a while.
Right. You'll be thinking about something that overstimulated you for a short period of time. And this has a similar effect with that Zach Hubbard guy. He is overstimulating your brain with too many words, too many numbers, and too fast. And you kind of have to assume he knows what he's talking about since he's here talking about it. And you're accepting it by letting him finish his sentences. And that's why he breaks down so hard when somebody tries to interrupt him. He's like, oh, well, this is that, and that's this, and this equals that, and these equal this, and this name equals 42, and this also equals 42. And in 1942, there was a blimp, and, and he just keeps going. But if you stop him and say, hey, let's take this one at a time, he just runs right over the top of you. He won't stop because he knows if he stops, he loses the edge. Your cognitive abilities will catch up, and he'll lose you as a patron.
While media use doesn't make one dumber inherently, it can affect our ability to concentrate, at least short term, at least seen here. But those are movies and games, not the internet in general. So does having access to the entire catalog of human knowledge at our fingertips, just on the other side of a Google search, make a more informed and educated populace? Or one simply more reliant upon technology to answer questions for them?
Facts.
That question was assessed in a series of now somewhat famous studies from Sparrow, Liu, and Wegner 2011. In their first experiment, Harvard undergraduates were asked to keep a series of 6 digits in their minds and then answered a series of knowledge-based yes or no questions, followed by a modified Stroop task and another series of questions, which were either easy or difficult. The Stroop effect describes a delay in cognitive processing when aspects of a stimuli are mismatched. For example, what color is this text? Right, it's blue. Now what color is this text? Of course, it's orange. If it took you a fraction of a second longer to correctly answer the second,
I would have said chartreuse. Oh, there. Is chartreuse an orange? I can't even remember.
question, then you've just experienced the Stroop effect for yourself. In this modified version, participants were presented with words related to search engines and the internet, for example, Yahoo or Google, as well as unrelated words, for example, Target or Nike, and asked to press a key identifying the correct color of the word, either red or blue, expecting that they would pay more attention and thus be more accurate regarding words associated with search engines that would allow them to access information useful for the upcoming questions that they knew they were going to be asked, some of which were very specific, such as, quote, was Pepin king of the Franks from 482 to 511 AD, and is Krypton's atomic number 26? Participants who had been exposed to more difficult questions were particularly more accurate in correctly identifying the color of the text used for words which related to search engines or to technology. But all subjects were more accurate in identifying the technology terms compared to the non-tech terms.
What color is it? A, blue, B, red, C, green, or D, yellow? What color is what? The Mexico.
Indicating that
What?
Kind of dirt colored, I would guess.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. What's up, Darlene? Welcome in. It's a greenish yellow, apparently.
any anticipation of needing to answer factual questions primes thinking about search engines which could provide the answers. That is, people given difficult questions are particularly drawn to thinking about access to the internet. But even when the questions are...
All right. Here's another one of those acquisition issues. They designed a study specifically to determine whether or not people were thinking about computer entries when seeking data on something unrelated to computer entries, knowing that they would have to answer database questions in the future. These people were far more twigged on specific, like search engine, SEOs, keywords, like that kind of stuff. They were far sharper on those because they were already primed to be looking for the right keywords, code words, phrasings, and stuff to make the search work later.
Yeah.
Unrelated words had a lower hit rate. That's all she's saying. But it could also have to do with the fact that these unrelated words have not been associative for any reason, and yet all of these other words are all associated with the acquisition of information. And so people using search engines more often would be more tuned to those words than they would be like chartreuse. I'm not going to repeat that, Dwayne. I'm sure it's some kind of ist, but I don't mind. I'll put it on screen. Hold up. There it is.
Simple, such as, are dinosaurs extinct? People are drawn to technology to perhaps reassure themselves that their responses are correct, rather than trusting their own knowledge. Or perhaps they're just looking for confirmation of their answer in anticipation of some kind of trick question. In their second experiment, a sample of undergraduates were exposed to a series of 40 trivia statements, a blank text box, and asked to type a copy of that statement into the text box.
I'm learning.
Some participants were informed that their statements would be saved for later when they pressed the spacebar, while others were told that pressing the spacebar erased their text to make room for the next statement. Further, some subjects were specifically instructed to try and remember the text, while others were given no such instruction. Afterwards, participants were asked to write down as many of the factoids that they could remember, and were then given the full list of statements to review.
Why? I mean, that is a broad basis of data points that were acquired through one study, utilizing a handful of questions, some colors, and some words. But what's the point of the study? What are we actually studying here? Data? We're acquiring data points, but the data points seem to be kind of all over the place. I don't know. Obviously, memory, direct information. So, like, ostensibly, you would have to know things before you could answer them, right? And so, whether or not you could remember those answers later would be directly indicative of how ingrained the answer itself in. Did you have the answer already and just use the phone to verify it, or did you use the phone to acquire the answer in the first place, and therefore you won't be able to remember the question or the answer later? Also, an interesting question in this: the people who were told to try to remember it beforehand versus the people who weren't given that statement. That will be an interesting thing to see in the future, right?
I think some of the things like telling them that, pressing the space bar is going to cause you to lose everything and all of that. I think that goes to test how the brain remembers the
accountability. This man's pussy smells just like brimstone. I'm sorry.
No, you good. But I think a lot of those prompts went to test how well these people remember things under stress too.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of wonder about that's actually something that concerns me with a lot of these studies is the people that are involved know they're in a study. And since they know they're in a study, since they are the people willing to take the study for whatever reason, and I think that might have some effect on the results of the study, depending on what the study is for. I've said study too many times. And Sasquatch makes all the frogs gay. Well, it's not my fault all the frogs are gay. It's the chemicals they're putting in the air.
Well, what about these chickens that are turning trans? What the fuck is with that?
Look at the owners. Look at the owners. All right.
Excuse me. No. How dare you put that on me? I had nothing to do with it. I was extremely surprised too.
So anecdotal data. We bred beagles when I was young. In the process of breeding, over several years, a few thousand beagles, training, search and rescue dogs, hunting dogs, all kind of stuff. We had this one named Ed. Homeboy was gay. We sold this beagle 4 times.
Oh my God.
The first 2 times we gave him a free refund, a full refund. Like, just bring the dog back. It's fine. It's not hooking up yet, CJ. I'm going to let it sit there and percolate for a minute and we'll see. Oh, there you are. What's up, bud? So, how you doing, CJ?
Yeah, it's thing. You hear me?
I can.
Nice.
Okay. So this one beagle was straight up homosexual. He would not get scrumpy with females. Doesn't matter how in heat they were. Didn't matter how you set it up. We had a single clutch of puppies from this male dog. And the guy who did it was a genius. What he did is he put Ed in a pen with a whole bunch of male dogs and one female, and then sat in the pen in a recliner, smoking cigarettes and going through his cell phone or whatever it was he was doing. I don't know. He was just sitting there waiting until Ed tried to mount one of the male dogs, and then he grabbed him and stuck him on the female.
Oh, wow. One way to do it.
This dog was the brother of 2 Grand Night champions. This was one of the best hunting dogs we ever had. Was completely uninterested in making puppies. Had to be tricked into it. You have frozen, CJ, and it's terrifying.
What we're going to be dealing with in society coming up?
No. Yes, sir. There's 2 sides to that. One side reproduces organically, and the other side has to indoctrinate your children.
Seems that way.
It doesn't seem that way. That is the fact of it. They either have to adopt, or they have to work at a school, or they have to get involved in after school programs so that they can have effects on the next generation.
Do you think there's enough of those type of people for it to be considered a side?
Have you been to a public school in the past 5 years?
No,
There's
I'm
your
38 with no children.
Okay, well, there's the issue. Yes, there are enough of them. They are running the public school system and most of the academics in this country.
All right. Well, my video keeps cutting in and out, so I don't know if you're
Just turn off your camera. It probably helps sound too. Purple power. Hell yes, son. Yeah, give it a shot. So when it comes down to that particular question, it's a self-defeating clause. You're talking about supposedly less than what, 2% of the population? And yet they are the squeakiest wheels in our society. And you have every single Karen, Darren, and blue-haired liberal out there screeching to the heavens about the victimhood status of people that they are not. It's not you, so shut up. If you want to bring me a victim who is a victim and wants to claim victimhood status, I will listen. But as far as like running around trying to claim victimhood status instead for someone, that's bullshit.
We have one in my district, and it's really interesting. I mean, like, so the district I'm in, like the school play last year was Joseph in the Technicolor coat. Okay. Like they actually, like it's a Christian themed play. Okay. And, because of me, the school board found out that the biology teacher does a trans section where the kids, like, I actually, the only way that I could even prove it, because everything was done on a computer, was my son took screenshots of the work that he was forced to do. And he was told outright, like, because when he saw it, he was like, my parents don't want me learning this shit here. It's bullshit. And she was like, do it or you fail. And, you know, he graduates next year.
Yes.
So
yes.
that schoolwork, I was pissed. I was pissed. Like asking these kids.
I think that's why God kept me from having kids. To be honest, because I wouldn't handle that well.
She literally was asking the kids, what is your gender? What is your sex? Do you feel safe expressing who you are at school? Do you feel safe expressing who you are at home? It's like, excuse me, what are you asking my child?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is not childhood where you find out who you are? And why are people not involved in the family trying to tell them anything about who they are?
The school district had no idea this teacher was doing this until I wouldn't have even known, except for the fact that my son decided to answer it. Like he went right to the edge and answered it as inappropriately as possible without getting suspended again, because that's my kid.
Yeah.
It was shocking though.
We got another 8 minutes before I end this. We can do an extension if you want to, those of you who are in chat. If not, I'm going to keep watching this. I haven't watched all of this yet. Backstage, you can hit the link and come talk to us backstage after the show if you want to. You can hit the link, come talk to us right now. You can come tell me that I've got a funny looking head if you want to, and I'll even let you get away with it. But there's an issue. The issue I have with all of this is that they're not out here trying to recruit adults. This guy isn't there trying to tell adults how to think. They're trying to teach a child how to think so that he grows up thinking correctly, which is not solving problems. In fact, if you go talk to these children after these interactions, they seem to be quite confused. Welcome in, Jessica Jane. I appreciate you coming in.
I'll do it on my data.
Welcome back. Yeah, it actually seems to be coming through better.
My data's stable at least.
There's a difference between telling kids about puberty and how to give a blowjob. Yeah, no, you're right. I've got a co-host, AJot. On Tuesdays, we do a show called The Naughty Corner where we look at people doing bad things and pick on them about it. And she did a show, it's been a couple of years ago, back when when Trump, well, I don't know, it hasn't been that long ago, come to think of it, when a lot of the schools started banning certain books, and they were talking about this is just like the Reichstag or whatever.
Bullshit.
I had to
Oh,
sit
yeah, I remember that.
I had to go over this point with her like 9 times. She kept falling back to, but it's a library. And I'm like, no, ma'am, it is a school library accessible to students. It is not a public library. If you go to your public library, those books will be available, but not in the school library because they are not appropriate for children. And that's why they're being removed. And over and over again, she would get to the end of it, she would agree with me, we'd move on to a different topic, and then she'd come back to, but it's just a library. Shouldn't it have all the books? No, it's a school library.
You can hit her with the library.
No, I'm not one of those people. I'm not trying to pull a rug out from someone.
Yeah.
Understand the perspective, and I get it. It's a library, but not all libraries are created equal. School libraries should be for the students, for children, with some reference materials beyond that for the teachers. But as far as like childhood transsexual pandas, hard to pass, man. There's not a population.
You shouldn't even be bringing that up with them until a certain age. There should be an age where if you even bring it up.
I disagree, CJ. I'm not sure I want an institution bringing that
I'm
up.
also a person that thinks, well, at the same time, I'm also a person who thinks we need less regulation instead of more. I think we have too much as it is. So, but, that's my little bitty perspective from down here. So.
I don't know. I think that this is exactly the kind of thing that does need to be handled within a family. It's nobody else's business right off the bat, and that's the big thing too.
Definitely not the school's business.
Yeah, and we need to be raising our kids to where they're comfortable to come to us and talk about shit. That's another huge thing.
That's a huge thing that they specifically place themselves in the way of. They basically try to put the onus onto the student to choose who to talk to, and they try to make themselves seem like the friendlier, less dire option.
Yes,
it's so clearly like divide. I don't know if you even call it divide and conquer at this point, but like whatever it is to split up the nations or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like a war tactic, like to break our voice.
I hear what you're saying. A lot of people try to say this is some type of rainbow Marxism thing, and it's specifically for revolutionary intent and all that stuff. I'm not specifically sold on it. I can definitely see the arguments in there. But it's
what are you sold on? Can I ask that?
That it is
regarding this topic.
Okay, so I think in this instance, and this is what you have to do, you have to look at it just this instance, the students, the teachers. If the teachers are progressives and they're living by their progressive model, they probably are alone with cats and wine when they go home. So they come to school to influence the next generation to be more progressive.
Yep.
That's their whole purpose in life and the only way they have a legacy.
Misery loves company.
Right.
Mm.
I can't even.
Well, like, what stance do you think would help that?
Okay, so
like, since that's the status quo, what do you think we could do about it?
Well, that's not the status quo. This has become a status quo by dint of various school districts hiring specifically progressives. If you have conservatives in school, they will teach.
But what I'm saying is if that exists, what would you do about it?
That teacher should not be allowed to be a teacher anywhere.
Okay,
we need.
I hear you. I am roboting.
You're better now.
Let's see. Well, it's probably interaction when multiple people are talking.
Yeah, I never heard you, robot.
I didn't hear you either.
You have to talk to your children. That is the answer. You talk to your children. You do it very early. You do it before they get a chance to tell they want to tell your children that you're an ist, have an ism, and that you're some kind of fascist or some kind of cannot see, you know. And
yeah, I think my kids would be laughing at that shit. Like, I already have jokes in their head about ists.
Mine did too.
Sorry if I talked over you, bro. I'm trying to.
If you talk to your children about these topics before they have a chance to influence them. When they hear these things, like one of my daughters, I had a long conversation about propaganda when she was very small. The other daughter, I didn't have at that age, and so that conversation never took place. So while my youngest daughter was in school, she did the full transgender, blue hair, the whole nine, every bit of it, right? Ironically, the whole way through, it was like her perpetrating a joke on the joke. And it was hilarious, but she stuck to her guns and she did the thing. She graduated. I'm so proud of her. I'm amazed. My oldest daughter, on the other hand, didn't get that conversation, and she went through, did the whole entire thing of the wokerati party genuinely. And it wasn't until she graduated and had to go get a job and live her real life that she just got smacked right in the face with the reality of life and suddenly became unbelievably based. Welcome in, Barnaby. Barnaby, good to see you.
Nice. Well, that had a silver lining.
And that's
But no, that's reality there.
They'll find out one way or another. It's just a matter of how painful is it going to be.
It is.
Unless they're trust fund babies, unless they happen to get lucky and hook up with somebody with money, unless they're one of these champagne liberals that are standing around here screaming that all of these people are isms.
And for all the trust fund babies, you better let your little boys fall off the swing set, because you bubble wrap the world, I promise you, it's better that they learn it then. When they can heal quickly, it's going to be less painful to literally for them to fall face first off the swing set and learn that lesson than to wait until they're in their 30s. You know what I mean? To learn it from another man, like forcing upon them. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. You have an amazing amount of lag, sir. Hold on one second. Mute up for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not received any extensions. I am not terribly
I'm sorry, bro.
Not your fault. This is just part of the process. We've got to work our way through it. I have more people in here than I've had all night, but this is still the end of the show. So if you want to toss me $1, we can keep going. If not, I'm going to wrap it up here in a minute and play something really funky on the way out because I like the way it sounds. But you have to talk to your children. You should raise your children. You shouldn't let
this man's the money. He deserves it.
Yeah. Grift people. Come on. Y'all are
You shouldn't let your children wander through life utilizing the information granted to them by people who want to control your thought. If you do that, you will raise perfect little factory, little.
Have you seen these?
He's clipping out bad now.
Have you seen these? Your thoughts are not your own people. What do you think about them?
They have an amazing lack of self-awareness and an overinflated concept of their own thought processes. These are the same people. Hey, bro, Mike, you're good for it. You tell me you're going to get me some money. Tell me how much you're going to give me, and I'll add that to the show, bro. It's on tap. That's all you got to do. Hit the link, come up and talk to us, whatever. You are responsible for your children. You are not responsible for their thought processes. The only thing you can do is teach them how to solve problems by letting them watch you solve problems. And when they look confused, try to explain why you're doing it.
Yep.
We change the tire because the tire is flat, and this is how we change a tire. It's literally that simple. I know the actual doing of it isn't simple because you have to do it every day. Every day. Every chance you get is a learning chance. And I've raised not just my children, but my friends' children, my brothers, my sisters, my cousins' children, by explaining why things are happening while they are happening. And this holds true for honesty also. When you have a younger person who has some diabolical disease and you know it's going to be bad, is it better to tell them not to worry about it and don't harsh their mellow? Or do you tell them the truth about the situation and try to explain it to the people around them? Now, I'm not going to get too deep into this. But when somebody's diagnosed with a chronic, untreatable illness at the age of 12, it's really difficult to look that child straight in the face and be like, listen, it's not going to be great, but you will have a life. And it gets better every day because science and technology and the medical industry, and we are in the best country on earth. So if a breakthrough is likely to happen in that particular zone, what's up, I1T? Welcome in. Then you're in the right place at the right time to maybe be one of the people to benefit from our immense amount of buying power and whatnot, right? So it's not an all hopes are lost type situation. It's actually more of a, hold the line, live the best life that you can. You can't expect to be president of the United States. You can't expect to be a baseball player or whatever. If you've got scoliosis, you're probably not going to be out there slam dunking a ball, statistically speaking, but you might be able to be a rapper. There's no reason to give up on dreams.
Right.
Just maybe not the dreams you started with. And that's sad, but it's also a necessary step that has to be made in order to gain the character capable of surviving the specific stresses that are going to occur in your life. Why does that happen to me sometimes? It's like somebody said that through me. It's weird.
No, you're right. And it helps them build the fortitude to actually, if they are mentally strong about the things that they're going to need to go through, it's only going to help the physical part. Do you know what I'm saying? I've seen mind over body work amazingly.
Sure. Belief is a hell of a drug.
Oh.
And it is capable of doing things that look miraculous.
Yep.
And might even actually be miraculous. And that's one of those things that it's really hard to quantify when it comes to this. Is it okay to tell a child, oh, everything's going to be all unicorn farts and rainbows for the rest of your life? Or at that point, do you already start preparing them for a tough life by telling them what's likely to happen and how to try to prevent that stuff? For instance, if someone has, like MS, they don't need to sit around and play video games all day. They need to go out and use their hands and work daily with their motions so that the shakes don't take over earlier than they should.
Exactly. They've got to have that mental drive to come at it and not just lay down and let it do its thing.
All right.
It is important.
We've still got complaints about the sound. Let me check on this and see how bad it actually is. Oh, no, it's just a small fire. Don't sweat it. Let's see how bad this is. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Yeah. It's not great. That's actually my that's my computer. Hold on, I might be able to do something about that. See. Where's it at? This one. And pause that. And we'll see whether or not that helps the sound. If not, I'm gonna that made it worse.
While you're playing with that, I gotta go check on my chickens real quick.
I hope they're still
Yo,
alive.
I've been fighting these fucking predators all winter. I swear, I've really put a lot of work into like fortifying the coop, but today I saw my trans chicken being aggressive towards something I couldn't see. There were some feathers. I'm not totally sold that the mink is not still finding a way in, although I swear to God I killed it.
All right, so it's not just me, it's all of StreamYard glitching.
I'll be right back.
It's happening to you too.
Oh. I
That's
can't
weird.
see it on my end. It doesn't.
No, it's not happening in StreamYard. It's the transition to YouTube that's making it happen.
All right. I'll be right back while you monkey with it. Jeez.
Huh. That's weird. Yeah, she said she has a trans chicken. I'm not 100% sure what that's all about, but
So she, okay, hang on. I'll explain before I watch.
I do not have PayPal. I do have a PayPal, but it's in like our Christian names, and we haven't had a chance to change it yet. I'm working on it because apparently that's a big deal.
Before I go out there, one of my hens spontaneously has adopted male characteristics, like she grew a comb, she's being aggressive, she's crowing when the sun comes up, or trying to. I'm really embarrassed for her. It sounds horrible. Our rooster got killed by this mink from hell that I've been fighting all winter. And I actually looked this up. It could be a stress response. It could be a hormonal imbalance. Yeah, chickens go through a spontaneous, weird change. I don't know. Be right back. Watch out.
Is it still skipping? Yeah, it is. Damn it. This is weird. This is going to kill everything I try to do. I know, Queen Bird. When I went to try to set up my PayPal, I basically have to either alter our original account or establish a new account to do it in. And to do that, I have to set up a bank account for it to go to and all that stuff. And that's all just a lot of stuff to do. And I got to go up to the bank and go do all that stuff. And there's this one chick up there that just freaking hates me. But it's been that kind of party, so must be nice to hiccup with trans chickens. Yeah, I dig it. This has become an absolute disaster. I'm not real happy with it. Not gonna lie. Was the whole freaking stream doing that trash? Jesus. That's just nightmarish. Makes me really angry. I guess I should have done all kinds of restarts before I did this, huh? This is unfortunate. I know I'm money blocking myself. Not really. I haven't really been doing the whole donation grifting thing up until just recently. There's that. That's driving me crazy. Let me try this. See how this works. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. Somebody give me money. That did not help. I actually shut everything off. I've turned it all back on. I just shut down my entire OBS system. And I got nothing else running. That's the heaviest thing I have in this computer. And if that's not going to fix it, I'm going to have to go back and figure it out. Because something's twitching me out. It does fade in and out. I don't know what that is. Let me tinker with this end of it again. I'm listening to myself right now, and it's driving me crazy. I hate it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It could be the internet. No, that didn't help at all. And suddenly I had echoes. All right, it's the feds. They've come to get me. I forgot to put my tinfoil hat on, and now we're stuck like this. So, damn it. All the things are misrepresented over here. I moved stuff, and now I don't know where anything is. So I guess this is where we're at.
I gotta bounce. Thanks a lot for proving just how ugly and immature you are. It's been real. And just so you know, I don't really care about your problem.
3, 2, 1.
And here we go. On my own, here we go.
If you're looking for the guilty,